What's happening, party people? I am in the Bay Area with this ugly scar on my nose. Man, I can't ever remember getting a cold sore before, but gotta deal with it. Anyway, in this video, I was out helping Steve, doing some work with him. I had some nice fun footage along with some of the working footage, and went to put the transmission in that V70. Didn't have my phone charger, my battery died, so didn't get to film putting that back in. But you know, there's other videos out there and film some taking it out. Anyway, we're in the Bay Area, supposed to meet several people in the area before we move on, so stay tuned. Probably a week, maybe two, in this Bay Area here. Unfortunately, I'm not adding people to the schedule, just trying to help meet and work with people that's already in the schedule. Last night started tearing into this motor that we're going to put in an S60R. It's a T5 engine. Going to put all new seals on it, do some other stuff with the intake and exhaust, and swap it into this S60R. Oh, before I forget, wanted to touch bases with all you folks that are in the Patreon site. Now, the Patreon site does not have a lot of special footage for you guys, but there is a few videos in there that are strictly for the Patreon people. So if you go to the Patreon site and you look at any video that has a thumbnail of my new ride or a thumbnail of Queen Bee, those are videos that are exclusively in the Patreon site. So don't forget to go in there, check that out, and hope you enjoy the bonus footage in there. That's where I'm at. Hope to see you guys soon. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I encounter throughout the day. If for some reason I complete a task and you would like to see the details, you can click on the link in the description area below. This video also contains tips and tricks that I learned throughout the years. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. Thank you very much for watching. We are out at Steve's playing musical vehicles. He's got some Volvos and he's got some stuff. Guess what he's got right now? Nope, you didn't guess right. Here he comes. He's gonna move this car we think has a bad starter. He's coming with his own personal forklift. One way to move a car that won't start right up. Personally, I'd probably drag it, but he's gonna pick it up, I think. Actually has fork extenders. He's gonna try to slide it under here and move this thing. Whoa! Come up just a little bit. That's good. Make sure you don't dent up the car, I guess. Rolls the carpet. I think he might be under far enough to lift this thing up without flipping it over. Back tire still touching. All right, fork it up a little bit. Moving this car, baby. Moving it where he needs it. You gotta have equipment and resources when you're out in the sticks.
He's gonna put it where he wants it. That's for sure. Wow, he's tilting the whole tractor. I didn't know you could do that. Now I know. Guess he's gonna put it along that fence. Didn't quite get exactly where we wanted, too close to the path. So we're going to pull it up the hill a little bit. We put the pull ring in it, and we're going to grab a little vehicle to back this thing up about 5-10 feet. Starter's out, can't start it. Next up, T5 auto. We pulled the engine and trans out of it yesterday. We just pulled it out probably 5 feet on the back tires with this forklift dolly thing there. Now we're going to bring the tractor over, lift it up, and pull it out into the driveway. Then we're going to lift it up and tuck it away somewhere on the property so that it's not an eyesore to the wonderful people that drive by this Volvo Wonderland, or this vehicle Wonderland, or this warehouse Wonderland. Whatever you want to call it is fine with us. We're just trying to get her done. And we're going to remove the cat from this vehicle here in this downpipe angle flange T5 size. We are coming out, folks. Car never had so much torque. Get them wheels turning. Tow hitch. Alright, whoa! And there she goes, folks. About to join 2 stacks jacks. Yeah, when you gotta move them the best way you can. So this is another T5. We should call Steve T5 Steve.
This one's called Moon Dust.
It's got the moon dust paint job on it. We're going to pull it out, back it in here where we just pulled that other car out that we tore the engine out of, and swap the transmission from that other car into this one. So this car starts and runs, buried in back here. Yeah, they put old Sasquatch to work. Knocked the wheels off, went and had lunch. Time to drop the transmission out of this thing. First thing we're going to do is build the engine support brace, and then take this air box out. A couple other things so we can access the stuff on top of this transmission. Support the engine and get under there and start taking stuff loose from under the car. Took the air box out, clamp off, pulled the air box up off of these 3 studs, unplugged the fan, took the fan out. Now I'm taking this intake tube off because I need this out of the way so that I could get to this starter. So I took the clamp loose down there. Now I'm looking for the clamp on this so that I can take this intake tube out. Be very careful when unplugging the sensors there, and be careful not to damage this check valve for this brake booster. I got the fan out, intake tube off, and I took the starter out. This starter actually had a 12 all the way down under there. Only one wire hooked up to the 13. It looked like they're bridged together, and then the solenoid wire. So now I'm gonna unhook this stuff up here where the PMP switch is and the linkage. Get that out of the way. Unplug whatever sensors I can from the transmission. I unplugged the 3 plugs going to the transmission. I pushed this little tab right here, and then I lifted it off of this bracket there. So looks like I got one more plug to unplug going to the transmission. All 4 of these got to be unplugged. Removed the turbo inlet tube. Stuck my fingers in there to check the turbo. Make sure it's okay. Put little rags in the turbo holes, charge pipe inlets, so nothing crawls in there. And now I'm going to make sure nothing else is connected to this transmission, like the O2 sensors and stuff, so when I start to drop it, I don't have a problem with it holding on to wires and things. Took off the protective belly pan, took those 2 screws out of the mount, took that bolt out of the CV axle, took the carrier bearing retaining bolt on, took the torque mount off. That thing is flopping around, it ain't no good. See the back side of it. It's done. Drain the transmission so when I pull the axles, fluid don't come out of the transmission. Next, I'm going to pull the bolts out of the control arm. I'm leaving the control arm with the car. Disconnecting everything from the subframe. The steering rack, all the little hoses, the mounts. I'm going to drop the subframe naked and push it under the car, then pull the transmission out. Took the bolt off of the front engine mount from the bottom. Took the bolt off of the rear engine mount from up top. Took a couple of 14s loose from the triangle. I took the control arms loose, pulled the axles on both sides, took a little bracket off of the back of the subframe that holds, I guess, O2 sensor wire, and took the NI sway bar end links loose on the bottom. I don't know if anything else. Oh, look, there's a little bolt right there. Got to get that 10 out there. Took a couple 10s out on the top of the subframe so that I could drop this subframe and nothing else be attached to it. But before we do that, we're going to put on the upper engine support brace. So let me get this bolt and then put that upper engine support brace on. Engine support brace on. Still got that strut brace on the back. So between the two of them, we should be stable. I think everything's off the subframe, so we're going to go ahead and drop that. This little chain we got on that front mount bolt there, that should be good. I'm going to move the subframe so we can reach some of these other bolts. Get this transmission off of here. I don't know if it's enough room to pull it off, but we're going to find out. I got a transmission jack in the car I got to get after we get the subframe out of the way. Got the transmission off. Transmission wouldn't shift into third. Probably just a speed sensor, but anyway, we got the transmission off. Took all the torque converter bolts off, and torque converter still stayed with the flywheel, and now it's leaking all over our pretty ground. Sucks. Something I was not really understanding was the mount bolted to the transmission didn't need to take the bolt out of the top of it, just need to take the 3 out of the side of the transmission. For some reason, the torque converter stuck into the flex plate, spilled oil everywhere, and the transmission's off. We're going to go ahead and take the one off of that package over there and put it on here. We're going to call it a night. Come out here tomorrow and put a transmission on. Kicking off the morning with a walk from the road down to the ocean. but it's pretty foggy, so you can't hardly see the water. I can see it splashing up down there. We're gonna go down there and get some exercise. I removed some of the plastic that was cracked on my camera lens. The back of my phone has 2 camera lenses. I don't know how it decides which one to film with, or if it films with both and joins a picture, but anyway, I busted one of those lenses off. It looked like it was just stuck on there with glue. Yeah, it's just stuck on there with some double-sided glue. So maybe I'll figure out how to get one of those replacements and go from there. I don't know what kind of rut you call this. Is this a rabbit trail? A deer trail or what? It looks like we got another 1/4 of a mile to get to the water's edge. We've come maybe a 1/4 mile, so 1/2 mile to the water edge maybe. Yeah, we come down here. Got a little bit of wavy action and stuff going on. Yes sir, morning walk. Getting kind of close to this water with Steve. We're gonna call him Crazy Steve from now on. Man, look at all these mussels. Do people eat them too?
Oh yeah. In fact, I had some about a week ago. So certain times of year, there's poisonous. Okay, so right here, there's a green sea anemone, and it's open. And I'm going to stick my finger in it.
Oh, okay.
And you can film it closing up on my finger. Oh, there's a really pretty one down here. Got it?
Yep. Look at that thing closing down on Steve's finger. Slowly but surely. It's closing. Wow.
That was kind of slow one. Look at this pretty one all wide open down here like a tunnel.
Hold on a second. What you call them?
Sea anemone.
That thing's wide open too. There's another big one right over there. So they try to stay below the water line. They ever come above it?
Yeah.
Dude, there's a freaking lot of these mussels. The rocks are covered with them.
There's a starfish right.
You see a starfish?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. Cool. There's another one under there.
Yeah.
A smaller one.
And there's an orange one over there.
Yeah, I see the orange one. Okay, several of them.
Yeah. Did you see the big ones over here?
Wow. I didn't know the mussels and clams would be like packed up like this on these rocks. That's crazy.
They're not clams, they're mussels.
Mussels.
Clams are in the sand.
Okay. Mussels cling to the... How hard is it to pull them off the rocks?
In fact, when I was a kid, we used to always come down and take a screwdriver and knock a bunch off and then crack them open and use it as fish bait.
You about to get wet? Almost.
Here comes a pretty big wave. Let's back up.
There's a couple of seal down there. One of them's under the water. Right there in the middle. Little gray spot. Other side of that rock. The other one swam away. There goes that seal.
See those 2 eyes?
Yeah. Right there in the middle. You can see that truck up there. On the hill, there's a road. There's a car there. So we're out here at the ocean, and the road comes along there and goes all the way down there and down in hairpins and comes back up this way to about there and goes down south. And that's north. Look at them rocks down there, baby. Don't fall down there. Kicking off the day with this mess we left yesterday. There's a lot of transmission oil in that thing. Look how nasty that transmission fluid was. Let me get started on getting that other one off of that engine over there so I can put it over here. Start by getting that axle nub out. Hope that's not an issue. It's got both the axles in it. Guess I'll start there. Steve's got this pallet elevated like a workbench. Make it easy to get this stuff out of here. Fluid from this transmission, beautiful. Nice and red flowing out of there. So this the engine mount. Mounts onto the steering rack and onto the transmission. Really no reason to take either bolt out of that if you're taking the subframe. Just need to get the bolts out of the bottom of this transmission mount from the mount bracket to the transmission. So let me go ahead and take this stuff off this transmission, get this transmission pulled, starting with the starter and the bell housing bolts. I thought I had all of the bolts out of this transmission, but I forgot the 3 bolts that hold the mount to the hydraulic mount. So I got to take those 3 bolts out of that mount, but all the rest of the bolts are out. So here is the bolts and how long they are to go into the transmission. This bolt here is at, I guess for lack of a better thing, say 1 o'clock, and I'm going counterclockwise on these bolts. So that's the 1 o'clock bolt. That's the 11 o'clock bolt. That's the 10 o'clock bolt. These are 2 starter bolts. All 5 of these bolts go in from the driver's side to the passenger side. Then below this starter bolt, the bolts start going in from the passenger side toward the driver's side. These first 2 bolts, this is right under the starter, and this is under that big mount. Then you got this 1 odd size bolt that goes on the front of the bottom of the engine, like behind the torque mount. Then this one is on the back of the lower oil pan. And then you got 3 bolts that go up, back up toward the start. So this one, I would say, is, from looking at the driver's side, this is 9 o'clock, this is 8 o'clock, this is 7 o'clock, this is 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Those are your bolts. Now I got 3 I need to get off this mount, and this transmission is ready to come off. It'll take 2 of us to lift it off of here. Hopefully the torque converter will come with it. So let me get back here and find these 3 bolts that hold this mount in. These 3 bolts right here. 1, 2, 3. Well, that bolt down there where you see that straw is missing out of that mount. I pulled this bolt out of the mount, and then I pulled the one up there to the left out of the mount. So one of the mount bolts were missing, and these are the size of the bolts that go in that mount. They're like the one that goes on the back bottom of the engine and the ones up top. They look the same. So this one on the front edge behind the torque mount is just a little bit smaller. Another one of Steve's toys. Bulldozer. Street grader style. I think I'm ready to pull that transmission off of there, man, whenever you are. Replacing the starter on this dozer. I think it needs to rotate counterclockwise to get that bottom screw started. I'm here on this D8 dozer, about to fire this puppy up. I'll let you know in a minute when the last time it ran, but the starter was locked up, so we just replaced the starter with one that we had off of another unit, and we're going to fire this thing up, take it over there and get that big forklift out of the mud. We were hauling that car to store it in a special spot, backed into some mud and got that big forklift stuck. So we're going to use this D8 to get that baby out of there. Going to push it all up this hill out of that mud and store this car. So stay tuned, be back in a second. Here with this D8 bulldozer, we about to fire this thing up. First time since, I'll tell you in a minute. See, it's got the parking brake set there. Hadn't moved in a while. We got a battery booster charger on it, and we just replaced the starter. We're going to get it behind this forklift, push this forklift out with this Volvo on it, so we can put that Volvo over there. So that's what we're up to. Stay tuned, watch this thing fire up after being parked for so long. It's only been sitting here a couple years, so. D8, baby. D8. Whoop, whoop. I've been given a somewhat of an ultimatum. I won't agree to that comment until I'm back at the farm. Look at that mud caked up in there, man. These things move right through all that. All that. These things got like 20,000 horsepower or what?
No, it's only got about 150.
150 horsepower?
Yeah.
And 62,000 pounds of torque?
I don't know how many pounds of torque, but that's a lot.
Wow, I don't believe you. That engine's got to have more than 150 horsepower.
The low RPM too.
You sure you don't want to get a big chain and pull that thing out of there? You're going to push it, huh?
I might pull it, but
Chains are heavy, aren't they?
on the battery charger.
You think it'll start without the plug on it?
Yeah.
All right. Pulling the plug on the battery charger. Hooking up the batteries. Cable's a little messed up. Steve called it foobar. Took the bucket off the exhaust, loosening up the controls. Uh-oh. Priming that baby. It's a caterpillar. Uh-oh, there it is, baby. There it is, baby! Woo! Fire right up. Like a boss. Man, that thing sounds good. Let that puppy warm up. Look at there, baby. Look at there. Pull up the parking brake. All this stuff is working. He going back too far for me. Steve got the big toys, baby. He's got the big toys. We're going for the pool, baby. Going for the pool. Hopefully the car is high enough. Going for the pool, baby. Oh! Going for the pool, baby. Coming out. Gonna pull it out a little bit more. Got to turn so you don't run over nothing back there. Just pulling that thing out of here, baby. This is the dozer, man. You got the D8H. Look at it, man. Pull that thing out of here. I think he's out far enough. Steve's the man. Steve don't play, y'all. He don't play. He don't play. Let's wrap this up. Get these chains off of here. Raising that car up over that chain. He's gonna pull this thing up a little bit, get that tension off of that. Parking brake. Walking that baby out of there. That's it. Free as a bird, y'all. Free as a bird. What I like best about Steve, he's careful. He don't do stuff that's chancy. He tries to be real careful with everything he does. See how he tipped that car back straight? Move a little bit, tip the car back straight. He ain't trying to hurt nobody, destroy nothing. Just trying to be careful. Let me see if he needs some help with these pallets. About to shut her down. After a hard 15-minute work. Got the transmission on the transmission jack. About to slide it in this car over here. I'm gonna air it off and hope it lines up great. All right, air the dirt off this transmission, put it in this car, call it a day. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.